No one expected this. Aaron Glenn is talking to Nick Caley, the tight ends coach and offensive pass game coordinator from the LA Rams, as qualified media members are asking if this puts Matthew Stafford in the game as a realistic option for the New York Jets quarterback in 2025. What's up, guys? Welcome to Jets Digest. I'm Matt Long. Before we hop into this video, only 20.2% of viewers are subscribed. So if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. It helps out me and Chris a ton. And we're, of course, always appreciative of our subscribers. Hopping into the video, SNY's Connor Hughes reported that Nick Caley and Las Vegas Raiders interim offensive coordinator Scott Turner are among the offensive coordinators that newly hired Jets head coach Aaron Glenn has talked to. So Aaron Glenn, of course, is a defensive head coach coming over from the Detroit Lions. The most important hire that he's going to make this year for the New York Jets is going to be who is that offensive coordinator. The Jets have not had a top 5 offense in more than 20 years, and we are aiming to change that. This name coming up right now, Nick Caley, is one of the most exciting names that have been brought forth over the past week because he comes from an offense that scores so many points every single year. High-powered offense. The LA Rams needs no introduction. You know, when you think of LA Rams offense, you think of fantasy points, think about real life wins, you think about the Super Bowl championship a couple years ago, and it's really a great spot to take guys from. A lot of head coaches and assistant coaches have came from this Sean McVay tree and become good head coaches and coaches in the NFL. They all come from the, of course, Mike Shanahan tree, which is the best offensive coaching tree that guys are looking for when it comes to finding a really good offense here in their modern NFL. They use a lot of motion. It's a run-first offense, but they also use a lot of motion and a lot of play action to set up the passing game as well. So if you are wondering where our offensive coordinator was going to come from, this guy is definitely my number one choice. He being from the Rams offense, that's where you find gold. We can't take their offensive coordinator because it's Mike LaFleur, and we've already been through the Mike LaFleur experiment, and it didn't work for us. But the offensive pass game coordinator is someone that is gettable because he's not super high. He's not the offensive coordinator, so he's still gettable, but he's not so low on the list. He's still important enough to where he can hopefully run an offense if he was brought in as a New York Jets offensive coordinator, and it's someone I think we can get very excited for should he come in. Important to note, this is from a Rams news outlet in LA. I got to zoom in to get the guy's name again. Cameron De Silva. I just wanted to give credit where it was due. Apparently, the Rams are viewing Nick Caley as the favorite to be the Jets offensive coordinator, so they are preparing to lose this coach. So that lends a little bit higher of a possibility that this guy could be the next offensive coordinator for the New York Jets. Talking about Nick Caley, I forgot to go over his background, actually. I wrote it down in front of me on my notepad, but I forgot to talk about it. He was the Patriots' offensive assistant in 2015. He joined up with the Rams in 2023 and was at first the tight ends coach and now the pass game coordinator as well as the tight ends coach. So another thing on top of it, just a cherry on top. He's going to help out our tight ends as well should he come in. But you guys saw the thumbnail of the video. We got to talk about the other part of this report here from Connor Hughes. Here's a fun theoretical for Jets fans. Suppose Glenn chooses a willing Caley to leave the Rams and come aboard as the New York Jets offensive coordinator. Suppose also Aaron Rodgers either decides to hang up his cleats or take his talents elsewhere. Could the Jets then go full throttle after Stafford on the trade market to fill the gaping vacancy left behind by Rodgers? This is, of course, one of the most important questions that need to be answered this offseason is, will Aaron Rodgers be back with the New York Jets? The report as of last night is that there was a leak that Aaron Glenn wanted Aaron Rodgers back, but until the GM is here and the GM comes out and says, I want Aaron Rodgers, we cannot be sure that Aaron Rodgers will be the head coach, will be the quarterback for the New York Jets next season. Of course, Matthew Stafford is a man who needs no introduction. The number 1 overall pick out of Georgia has a rocket arm and a Super Bowl championship. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the game today, not just over the past however many years he's been in the league, like 15. I think it's 16 years. Let's go with 16 years. He is still an elite quarterback. He's still a top 7 or 8 quarterback, and that is just putting it, That's putting in room for you to pick and choose other guys to put over him. That's conservatively is the word I'm looking for. Conservatively, a top 8 quarterback in the league is Matthew Stafford. Of course, the problem I have with this is, didn't we just do this? Didn't we just have the roster that said, oh, we just need a quarterback. Let's go out and get Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to be the solve. So that puts me off a little bit, but Matthew Stafford, his accolades and his talent is undeniable. He's a really, really, really good quarterback. I know I keep saying it, and no one needs me to keep saying it because you know who Matthew Stafford is. However, in this hypothetical situation where Aaron Rodgers is no longer the New York Jets quarterback, Matthew Stafford would be a home run for the New York Jets. He is 36 years old, also contemplating retirement, so he wouldn't be the long-term fix. However, he has already been traded and immediately won a Super Bowl. He did that in LA, getting traded for Jared Goff, the current quarterback for the Detroit Lions, from Detroit to the Los Angeles Rams, and first year Super Bowl championship. With the right coaching staff around him, it's possible that he could come to the Jets and do the exact same thing. The New York Jets, if Davante Adams was back with Matthew Stafford and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall, that's a better offensive core than Matthew Stafford has right now. Breece is better than Quinnen Williams. Puka Nacua or Garrett Wilson, you can take your pick. I'm going to take Garrett, but if you want to take Puka because of the physicality and he's a bigger body, I'm okay with that. But Cooper Kupp versus Davante Adams, who are we kidding? Our offensive setup is better, and Matthew Stafford could continue to cement what could be a Hall of Fame legacy for him in the NFL. I think Matthew Stafford would welcome a move to New York because it's a team that needs a savior, and they're close. Yes, they only won 5 games this season, but if Aaron Glenn is the head coach that we think he can be, if he brings together the culture like we know he will do, and he gets an offensive coordinator who he is familiar with Nick Caley, Matthew Stafford could be exactly what the New York Jets have been looking for, the solution at quarterback, even if it's only for 1 or 2 years. I keep saying this. I see a lot of people in the comment section agreeing that there is not a quarterback in this draft that we're going to be able to pick and say with 100% certainty that guy's going to be the future. We can take a chance on a 6th, 7th, maybe 4th or 5th round quarterback in the drafts, but there's no guarantee that that guy will ever be good enough to be the starting quarterback for the New York Jets. This would be a significantly safer answer, but usually when you pick the safe answer, the ceiling isn't there. But with Matthew Stafford, the ceiling is absolutely there because to me, he is still an elite quarterback. No, he's not in the tier of the Joe Burrow, the Lamar Jackson, but you can have a quarterback not in that tier and still win the Super Bowl, i.e. Nick Foles winning the Super Bowl for Philadelphia or Matthew Stafford winning the Super Bowl for the LA Rams. So the New York Jets can flip this thing around the way we thought it could be flipped around 2 years ago with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, before he left the Green Bay Packers, he showed some signs of decline in his play. Matthew Stafford has not shown those signs of decline. The only reason he would, which brings me to my next point actually, this seems like a fun hypothetical, but why would the Rams get rid of Matthew Stafford? They are a roster that is lacking talent, but they're very good at drafting it. So even these late round picks, they're turning them into stars. They found Braden Fisk in the 2nd round. They found Puka Nacua late in the draft, and they're finding other guys late in the draft as well, and they're turning into longtime contributors. Why would they trade Matthew Stafford to us? And do the New York Jets have the draft capital to trade for Matthew Stafford? Right now, we're still short on draft capital after the Aaron Rodgers trade and the Davante Adams trade. So yes, we have a 3rd round pick this year via the Detroit Lions. So we still have a 3rd round pick, but it's not as good of a pick as we were supposed to have. The New York Jets are paying off debts from the past. And as far as Matthew Stafford goes, I think he's a really fun option, but I don't think he's the right option because we need to hang on to our draft picks. We need to be able to draft rookies so we can have younger guys, but more importantly, cheaper, talented players. Once a player is good in the NFL, you got to pay him. These rookies, you don't have to pay him anything. And if you draft them in the 6th, 4th, you draft them on day 3 of the draft, you don't have to pay him anything, like $500,000, which just in case you don't know, that is, as far as NFL terms go, NFL money, that's very, very, very cheap. So Matthew Stafford, yes, he could be the savior, but there are a lot of things that would have to go right for this situation to work out. But that's all I got for this video, guys. If you stuck around this long, thank you very much. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed. And as always, go Jets.